Silver Bullet Series opener for 2001. Dave Steele and Davey Hamilton are on the front row. In row number 2 will be Casey Kane and Paul White. In row number 3, car number 37, driven by Tracy Hines and Michael Lewis in number 85. The 4th row, Jerry Coons Jr. in 35 and Jason McCord in number 4. Number 69, Brian Tyler, and 51, Russ Gamester in row number 5. The 6th row, Dave Darlin in 56 and J.J. Yaley in 111. The 7th row, Ed Carpenter in number 11 and Brad Knopfsinger in number 40. The 8th row, 44, Bud Kading, and 27, Dane Carter. The 9th row, it's Aaron Fike in number 192 and Tony Elliott in number 20. The 10th row, Johnny Heidenreich in number 110 and Gary Heber in 66. The 11th row, Jim Childers in 78, Billy Puterbaugh Jr. in 73. Number 93, A.J. Fike, and 22, Brian Paulus make up row number 12. Back in the 13th row, it's Tyler Walker and Derek Davidson, these drivers from the Last Chance race. Jay Drake will start in 62 and Bentley Ward in 29. And back in row number 15, we have Carl Edwards in number 80 and Chet Phillip in 77.
Should be a very interesting start as we take a look at Bud Kading, who has one of our onboard cameras.
He'll be starting in 15th position, and Brian Tyler will be starting in 9th spot, and he also has one of our onboard cameras. 100 laps of racing for you in the Pennzoil Copper World Classic, the Silver Bullet Division, and the green flag is out, and here we go. Davey Hamilton stays up high alongside pole sitter Dave Steele as they race wheel to wheel through corner number 1. Looks like everybody is going to make it through that portion of the racetrack okay. And Steele pulls away slightly from Davey Hamilton as they move through turns number 3 and 4, and it looks like Dave Steele from Tampa, Florida is going to lead lap number 1.
Already it looks like Davey Hamilton is a little bit loose. You saw the back end coming out just a little bit. That's not good. There's a lot of fuel in the back end of these cars, so he may have just got into the corner a little too hard. If he gets that right rear hot, he's going to go backwards in a hurry.
Paul White has moved into 3rd position, the driver from Texas. Meanwhile, up front, it continues to be Dave Steele, who separates himself from Davey Hamilton by a few car lengths, as once again the entire field moves through corners 3 and 4.
Everybody kind of settled in, got in single file. A very important factor are the tires. You do not want to get the tires overheated too early. Oh, look at right there, the 11 car of Carpenter up there. He got very far sideways right in front of our cage cam of Brian Tyler.
And now Tyler goes to the outside of Ed Carpenter, and we have a slow car down to the inside. That is Aaron Fike, and it's going to bring out a caution here in the early going. There is some smoke seen from the right side of that number 192.
Yeah, that's not good. Obviously an engine problem with that car. You can see a little oil down there, so tough break for him.
All right, let's take a look at the start from our onboard CarQuest cage cam. This is Brian Tyler as he moves gingerly down through turns 1 and 2.
Oh, boy. Got pinched down into curving on the inside. You can see it's pretty rough down there as that thing threw him around just a little bit.
Had to get off the throttle, and a couple of cars went around because of that.
Dave Darlin in that blue number 56 on the outside, and that's Gamester in red number 51.
Now here is Bud Kading's CarQuest cage cam. Here's what happened to him on the first lap. Doesn't sound like the engine may be at full song on that car.
No, and he's out of the throttle quite a bit. He got a terrible start. He lost 2 or 3 spots going down the front straightaway. He's been kind of able to hang on right now, but it doesn't sound like it's quite right. You're correct.
That number 20 car there to his left is Tony Elliott. Meanwhile, we are getting set for a restart as Dave Steele will once again lead him down to the green flag. Now, for the first time in this Copper World Classic, this is a 100-lap, 100-mile race. In previous years, it's been 50, so they're racing twice the distance, and I'm sure that's going to play a big role in this strategy. Look at Paul White in the white number 10 car going to the inside of Hamilton and taking 2nd position.
And that's Tracy Hines in that other white car right behind Hamilton now, as he also gained a spot on that start.
And that's a 67 of Casey Kane running back there in 5th position, and maybe he has a point to prove here because he knows his car has already been disqualified from a 2nd place finish in the WorldCom midget cars, so he would like to make up for that mistake here in the Silver Bullet division.
Well, these cars have about 70 gallons of fuel back there behind them, so at the beginning of the race, they're very heavy in the tail end. These guys have to be... Oh, we got a big crash.
That is Jim Childers, driver from Florida, who has made heavy contact with damage to the right side of that. And there are a couple of other cars that maybe just spun because of it. That's Jay Drake and up against the division of USAC. Here's the green flag. We're back to racing, and Paul White's going to take a shot at Dave Steele. Boy, White got a great jump coming down the straightaway, and he's taken the lead from Dave.
Paul White has that restart gig figured out. Let me tell you, that's 2 restarts, and he's gained a spot on both of them and put himself right in the lead of this race. Great job.
And Tracy Hines has taken 3rd. He's there in front of Davey Hamilton, now in 4th spot as the rest of the field comes to the corner. But a very impressive move here by Paul White, looking for his first victory in this series, and he may get it here this afternoon. J.J. Yaley and Jerry Coons are right behind Davey Hamilton.
Yaley trying to put a move on Davey Hamilton.
Oh,
big crash down in turn number 1. That's Brad Knopfsinger in the black number 40, and it appears to be Billy Puterball up against the fence.
And both of those cars have had heavy contact with the wall. We don't see any movement from Brad Knopfsinger. Boy, I hope he's okay. The safety crew is already approaching the scene of the crash. Billy Puterball is moving around and loosening the seat belts and will be climbing out of that car. He obviously is okay, but I'm not so sure about Knopfsinger. Here is the replay.
Again, it looks like those 2 cars made contact. Knopfsinger, you can see he hit so hard the car came completely off of the ground, settled back in without getting upside down, but he hit that thing a ton. Wow.
And the safety crew attending now to Knopfsinger. They'll take every precaution, of course, even if he is not obviously injured. They will undoubtedly put the collar on him and put him on a backboard and check him out. He appears to be moving around, however, so that's very good news. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the USAC Coors Light Silver Bullet Series, part of the Pennzoil Copper World Classic Phoenix International Raceway. A great battle up front. 3 cars going for position. That's Hines once again to the high side of Dave Steele in the 19 car, trying to take away 2nd as Paul White continues to show the way. And Hines is just doing everything he possibly can to get up to 2nd spot.
Side by side, wheel to wheel. Those guys, neither one are going to give an inch. It's going to be a great race until Hines can either get around him or has to fall back in behind him. And neither one are going to give up.
That's for sure. There are less than 10 laps to go, and now Hines takes 2nd position from Dave Steele finally. He worked on him for lap after lap after lap, finally gets 2nd position, and now he sets his sights on Paul White, the leader. So the defending champion of the series is not going to be satisfied with 2nd spot. He's going for the lead as White, well, look at Steele now. He's back on the inside.
Steele says, no, it's not going to be that easy, pal. I'm going to come back after you. And he does get into the corner. But once again, getting off the corner, it looks like Hines has the momentum and pulls away.
And as long as those 2 can keep racing, it's going to mean an easier path for Paul White. But now, with Hines pulling ahead of Dave Steele, he closes in on White, and there's a little bit of race traffic ahead, and that could play a factor here in the late going. There is Dane Carter, who continues to run in 4th position, and just a fine afternoon for the son of Concho.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go to catch these guys. Now then, this lap traffic, though, is they've already gotten through them, so that's a big break for White as he got through that traffic very, very quickly.
They just lapped Michael Lewis, who won the midget portion of the Pennzoil Copper World Classic, but has had some problems here in the Coors Light Silver Bullet division. Hines now, as he has tried in the past, uses the high groove. That was successful for him in passing Dave Steele. Now, will it be successful as he tries to pass Paul White for the lead? White moves up slightly on the racetrack and slams the door.
Wow, look at this, though. Once he moves back down to the bottom, he pulls right up beside of him, could not quite pull it off, though. He lost a little ground once he got back on the throttle.
Well, 10 laps to go now, and it's anybody's race. Quite a little bit sideways coming off that first corner, headed into the dog leg, but still maintaining about a 3 or 4 car length advantage on Hines as Steele now begins to fade just a little, so it becomes a 2-car contest, Hines and Paul White.
Well, Hines took a different line that time. He went right to the bottom of the racetrack down in turns 3 and 4, and he gained back some of that ground that he had lost. He moves back up a little high and loses a little ground through 2.
And once again, they approach some slower traffic, but it is no factor. That was A.J. Fike that they just passed, but he's running slow on the racetrack and out of the racing groove.
Wow. Looks like Hines really gains down in 3 and 4. He loses a little ground up off of 2, but he's really gaining down there in turns 3 and 4.
Can you imagine what's going through the mind of Paul White, who knows he has a victory within his grasp? The only thing is it seems like a huge amount of laps to go, although they were coming up on only 7, but it's an eternity for Paul White. He would love to fin. Now Hines moves to the, they touch, and Hines is hard into the wall here on the front stretch. Wow.
Wow, Hines had the run down on the inside. Paul, as you can see, got a little bit loose, and Hines, the right front, touched the left rear of Paul White, and it turned him into that inside fence. I'm sure he's got to be very, very disappointed. Tough break. He had a great, great run.
Boy, he sure did. So it's all over for Tracy Hines, who bumps wheels with Paul White coming out of corner number 4, and Hines is hard into the inside wall. It could be that Hines is kind of waiting on Paul to come around so that he can give him some kind of salute. Well, I guess there is.
He decided against it. He just throws his helmet instead.
He's not a happy person. He throws his helmet and it goes bouncing down the straightaway. Well, let's take a look at it, Larry. It happened as they moved through turns 3 and 4 and then onto the front straightaway.
Well, Paul White slid up high like he has been doing, and he got very sideways. You know, and they just touched. When the back end caught and came back down, he just slapped the right front wheel of Tracy Hines. Hines, I'm sure, is going to say, well, he didn't give me enough room, and I think White's going to say, hey, I was racing for the lead. I was in front. I had the racetrack.
And it was obvious that White's car was sideways, and he was trying to keep it from spinning, and as he did, it moved to the inside of the track right onto the tires of Tracy Hines.
Yeah, this is all a matter of perspective, you know. If you're leading that race.
Top 5, White, Steele, Carter, Coons, and McCord with 4 laps to go. When they take the green flag, there'll be 3 to go. And once again, Larry, a very good restart for White, and he needs every inch of racetrack to win this race.
He certainly does. Dave Steele back there's got a pretty good race car. Doesn't look like Carter's going to be a factor, as he didn't get nearly as good a start and has fallen way back. As a matter of fact, he's being challenged by Coons right now.
Well, 3 cars, now 2 with the demise of Tracy Hines, have basically been the story here this afternoon, leaving everybody else to battle for position. But for the most part, it's been Paul White, Dave Steele, and until just a few moments ago, Tracy Hines. There's Carter, followed by Jerry Coons, and then Jason McCord, your top 5. And the separation between first and second looks pretty good right now for Paul White.
Yeah, Dave Steele, he's driving the wheels off of that thing. He's slipping and sliding everywhere, trying to find a way. He's very loose, so you can see the back end hanging out right there. He's just not got enough to get up there and challenge Paul White.
99 laps completed. One more tour of this oval, and Paul White will have his first victory in the series. He started in super modifieds and super sprints and has numerous track championships, including the 1989 and 95 NASCAR Sunbelt Regional Late Model Series. Is also a former Tex All-Star Modified champion. Was the 99 Rookie of the Year in this division, and down the straightaway to the checkered flag, Paul White wins his first ever victory in the USAC Coors Light Silver Bullet Division. A great win by Paul.
Well, he did exactly what he had to do. He ran a very good race. He didn't make hardly any mistakes. The only time he really got a challenge for the lead was the one time when he and Tracy Hines bumped wheels.
He wins over Dave Steele, and the margin of victory is .3206 seconds, so about a third of a second victory that White has over Dave Steele, and a huge payday also for Paul White. He'll receive over $20,000 for driving to victory here this afternoon.